That'll big reveal, even though we know what it is already. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath and then gently slid back to the bolt.
What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters?
You both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about we were going to collide with another ship. Yes. It appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop.
Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere.
I'm willing to bet that the false alarm was given by Sholmes. This first-class areas are the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? You wicked intruder! Thrust Island back! You are the devil! Sorry, me? You are hella cute, okay? Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case! How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yeah? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. It is not enough that he has killed a man.
Duh, and he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away. He's a trespasser as well as everything else.
Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right, you are devil.
It doesn't look good, does it?
There's cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, there's nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. Alright, bye. Hey, buddy.
Is Sherlock in the show?
Yeah.
He pulled the...
What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it's my business to know what other people do not? This isn't some mere tomfoolery, my boy. No. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if I would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector. I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time.
What is to report? Speak.
An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes, the case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? Yes, I have eliminated all over other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case.
Nah, you have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all know who is responsible for killing Student Boy this morning, and we found criminal in wardrobe. It is this doorway, and he has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin doors bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who is inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Da, locked room. That is point.
The room was locked? Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Do you want back through?
No.
Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The vent?
Oh,
Gah.
he's gonna accuse the woman.
You think this is funny? I could not even put my arm through that hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Cosmo-sama wrote in his diary? I can hear a faint whistling sound. It looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Whoosh. Precisely, my dear madame. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Bzzz. And I will punch it. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! What the?
Snack!
Snack! He looks so happy.
He looks, oh my god, his tail is wagging. Oh my god.
I want a snake.
You have a snake.
You want to get a snake? Get Hank. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The Speckled Band. A snake? Indubitably. Time to bother this animal. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake, isn't that really... It isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Hmm? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it... the Striped Band, wouldn't you? Now here's our speckled band. Hi. Hi. I woke you up, didn't I?
Well, I woke her up.
I see you flicking your tongue. I see you sniffing the air. Oh, alright, she's like, alright, time to go. She's ready. She's like, alright, I'm leaving. Alright, hold still. Heh. You both see and observe, with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. She knocked over my bottle! There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. Ah. She doing a scope. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No. No. Not this way.
I need to look for my schedule because I need to be 100% sure if it's 2:30 or what.
Alright. Come here, you.
Hey, let go of the leg.
Yep. We were the ones that disturbed her. Now she will disturb us.
Hank has always been explorative. This was always a possibility. Then come back here.
You want me, Hank? Alright. She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again.
Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asagi? It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning is spectacular. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. It's nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. My what? And it is that very pain that evidenced your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend which you boarded the vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. Kristen? The The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. Is her pet not a snake, then? What explanation can we give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? What did she just do? Don't look at me! This has nothing to do with any of this! Oh, but it does. She's got a hamster then, or something. What? Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours
Shed its skin.
shed its original skin. No? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appears to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake, whose markings change each time it slows its skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. How Mr. Asugi died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data for which I have been apprised, it would appear there was no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of this deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't... It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. To train? Indeed, you'd put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor man's life. There can be no doubt, my logic is infallible. Narrator's note, it was in fact quite fallible. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. Well, time for me to go to work. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There, on the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction that really lives up to the name. I see now why Sherlock Holmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Most people do things with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course. What's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. Yeah, baby. Come on. Yeah? What's the matter? Welcome questions as to my method. I will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, what? And second, the fuck? Snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. However, that is interesting because some snakes do, make milk. Mm-hmm. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds. I don't know if they drink it, though. Like, what do they use it for?
Probably to attract other mammals.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
Yes, they do.
Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal a snake by whistling. Yeah, they can hear. Mm-hmm. What of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There is one other thing. You have more? Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then it should try harder.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes, or the snake. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this.
I am a snake.
I am Snake.
I am a snake.
I booped a snoot. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruto.
Oh, you don't mean...
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruto. Yeah, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What?
They're free.
Of course they are. You've done it again. Your handcuffs are gone. Where did they go? Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.